The tide is back. We'll sweep you off your feet. Rage is the team. You can't defeat.
I started cheerleading last year, and it's definitely different because I played club soccer for 12 years of my life, and when you come to cheer, there's obviously more hours, more work, and you use very different muscles than you would think you would use. But it was more of the fact that when you go to practice, like, you all show up like a family, and when I used to go to practice at soccer, like, we just show up and be like, oh hey, and then go warm up.
Caity's been an athlete for most of her life, so she did lots of club soccer and club basketball and dance, including jazz and ballet and hip-hop, but cheerleading has been a sport that has really brought all of those skills together and then made her go another level higher.
When I think about what people think of us, definitely like peppy, oh my god, let's go hang out, like. But I mean, there are some people like that, but I mean, we're no worse than gymnasts or any other kind of like indoor elite sports. So
two of my best friends are on club cheerleading, so I know a lot about it, and I know that it's a lot more competitive atmosphere than school cheerleading, and I definitely know that their stunts are way more advanced, and they, you know, spend a lot more time practicing. Like, my best friend is on NorCal Elite, which is in San Jose, and I know that on Sundays she'll go to practice for like 5 hours, and they'll just they just have a ton of practices and competitions, and it's just a lot, like, you need a lot more endurance than you would think you would.
Caity spends lots of long hours being prepared and practicing, working with her team to present an athletic performance that is practiced and professional. It's not about popularity, it's not about pretty, it's about being prepared and working hard and being a disciplined athlete.
My school, we actually don't have cheer because I go to Archbishop Mitty, and that's a Catholic school, and so I'm not sure of the exact reason, but we're not allowed to have cheerleaders just because of the impression that they give off to like the student body, I guess.
Not a lot of cheerleading involves like provocative movements. Most of it doesn't have to. Like, the dancing can be conservative if it needs to be, but like a huge part of cheerleading is the stunting, and like that's basically just like gymnastics. So cheerleading it's like a combination of gymnastics and dancing, and in no way does that have to be inappropriate for school.
I think it really should be considered a sport because there is contact, and like I consider it a contact sport where we're catching people, they hit us, like we hit them. Like there's injuries every practice that normally other sports, you know, soccer, oh, go sit out because you're hurt. Like cheer, like if you sit out, you're considered weak. You're not considered like being smart.
It was definitely a lot more intense and competitive than I expected, because I had always thought, you know, high school cheerleaders just like wave pom-poms and they like cheer at the games, and it's not really like that hard of work, but it's the total opposite. Like, the practices were so hard, like everyone would be like pouring sweat at the end. We'd all be like breathing so hard just because people don't think it is, but it's so much physical exertion, and it's really like, I don't know why it's not considered a sport, because you're like lifting girls who like weigh close to the same amount as you, like over your head, you're tossing them in the air, you're like catching them, and as you dance, you're singing and cheering, so it's such a hard workout.
Caity's team is really focused when they go to a competition. The most important part of the competition is the team members supporting one another, because in a competition, even a slight mistake can lead to a huge score deduction. So everybody on the team has to be at their best, and everybody has to be looking out for one another and trying to support each other's moment of weakness or miss, if you will.
Competitions they're funny because there's sort of a sassiness when you're warming up and you have other teams you have to walk by to go to the warm-up room. We always go, hi, good luck. Like, some will even hug each other, and like, there's like there's an underground, like, I hate you, I'm gonna beat you, like, still there. So it's actually pretty intense if you can like realize the sarcasm that we use between each other.
Go, girls! Woo! Let's go, girls! Loud enough. Love you there.
Let's go, girls.
And especially on, like, during awards, like, we're courteous if we hear who got second place and we know that we got first before they call our name. Like, we'll not cheer, we won't get up and start screaming that we won. We'll be reserved, and then when we call our name, but it really just depends on our club.
Caity is a club cheerleader as opposed to a high school cheerleader. A lot of high school teams don't focus on the professionalism and athleticism that Caity's club team is very focused on.
I feel like people think that way just because we wear skirts when we go to, like, when we perform, or we wear less clothes, but it's kind of like, why aren't gymnasts perceived that way too?
It's not fair to them to not be considered a sport at our school, because I know that they're not. And I don't think it's fair to them to not be recognized for all the hard work they do. Because before I joined cheerleading, I didn't think it was hard work. Like, I just thought that, they do practices twice a week, and they'd, practice their cheers and their routines and stuff. But there's so many extra practices that go on, and there's so much, like, you go to cheer camp in Santa Cruz, and there's so much outside commitment that people don't consider, that honestly, I think they work just as hard, if not harder, than other sports teams at our school.
It's kind of like, if we could just eliminate that whole thought, like, even I've had guys who want to join, but they're scared of what people will think of them. Like, well, they think that I'm, like, gay because I do cheer. And, like, there are people who do cheer that are not gay, and they have a great time. So it's really, like, it's really sad because a lot of it is stereotypical. Like, I really think, like, our sport is the most stereotypical of them all.
For the 4 months that I did, like, the really intense cheer, it just taught me about, how much dedication it takes and how much, like, effort it takes, both physical and, like, emotional and mental. Like, you really, like, being a cheerleader, it's really hard work. And I think that's just influenced me to know that, I don't know, all cheerleading teams should be respected as a sport, and they should all be allowed in schools, because it's not just a sport that's for show or just for, like, oh, like, we're so pretty, we're cheerleaders. But it's like, it's actually really hard work, and there's people who are so dedicated to it that it would be unfair to not give that opportunity to everyone.
Sometimes it's successful and it's joyous, and sometimes it's harder. Sometimes it's working more hours, more time, putting in more focus to regain the ground that didn't work out from the last competition.
And I don't know, it's really sad because some people will be like, I don't want to join cheerleading because I don't want to be thought of as, like, a ditzy person. And it's like, they could find a family and friends that they never thought they would have if they joined our team,
Some of the most important life skills that Caity has gotten from cheerleading have been to be really focused, to work hard for a goal, to work week after week, even practice after practice, and competition after competition for a goal, not just for herself, but for herself as well as her teammates.